Thank you for joining us on this episode of EideCast. Is This Thing On? Today I am joined with VVI's Maggie Saugstad. Hi, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I was going to give her a proper introduction, but I don't even know what your official title is. So would you mind telling us what you do?
You bet. So I'm the Director of Community Relations and Marketing.
Okay.
So I get to do, of course, a lot of stuff with the VVI marketing team, with planning and strategy and all that kind of fun stuff. And then I also get to do a lot of the nonprofit relational stuff around Sioux Falls and working with those nonprofits. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Definitely intimidated asking you the questions because I know that you have hosted this podcast before. Have you ever been a guest or a guest position on a podcast or?
No, never. This is a first for me.
Okay. So you get a little leeway of, I don't have anybody else to compare me to then.
Nope.
Okay. So with your position, how did you get started, or when did you start with VVI, I guess?
So I'm coming up on 12 years.
Okay.
I started as a media strategist, so I was working with all the TV stations, radio stations, digital vendors to place commercials.
Okay.
And throughout the 12 years, things have changed and changed again and changed again to where I am sitting at today. But yeah, when I started at VVI, I think we had somewhere around like 25 or 27 employees.
Okay.
And today we're around 10. So we've had a lot of changes. It used to be that we were a full service agency. So we had a lot of clients outside of Vern Eide too. But now we're focused on Vern Eide, and we're focused on doing some free advertising for nonprofits as well. So that's really what we do outside of Vern Eide, but we're pretty straight focused on Vern Eide stuff. So
very nice. Where did you go to school?
Where I grew up, I went to Madison for high school, and then I got my bachelor's degree from Colorado Tech. I was a non-trad student. So
yeah. So you went to school in Madison and then Colorado Tech.
Yep.
What did you study there?
Business administration. Okay. I thought I wanted to go into accounting, but they made me pick an emphasis, and the options were HR, general business, or marketing. And so, legit for real, this is how I chose my marketing emphasis. When I was in middle school, I always envied some of the girls in my class for being able to make those really cute bubble letters and posters that were so cool. And I'm like, I always loved it. I could never do it. And I'm like, all right, well, we're just going to try this, see if they can make an artist out of me. So that's why I decided to do an emphasis in marketing. And I have nothing to do with the graphics or the video or anything that we make these days, because I would be really terrible at it. But yeah, that's how I chose
that
a marketing
was your decision
path.
making.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you felt like it, like in the long run, that ended up bringing you to the right path anyway.
It did indeed. Yeah.
Just maybe had you gave you appreciation for the artistry of it or something to guide you in that direction. So growing up in Madison, what were some things that you enjoyed doing?
So I actually grew up on a farm.
Okay.
So I rode my bike hour after hour after hour to entertain myself. We also had a really fun riding lawnmower. I don't know what they're called, but they're like the stick things where you get to like circle around in a 360 and stuff. So when I was growing up, like 4th, 5th grade, I would drive that thing up and down my driveway. We had like a 1/4 mile long driveway. It was super long, especially when I had to walk it to go to the bus in the mornings. But no, I would drive that down and back, and I would pretend like I was in traffic. So I would literally like stop, look both directions, and then I would keep going, and then I'd stop again, and I've got to turn here. And yeah, it was like my own little car for entertainment, I guess, around the farm.
That's so funny. And do you have siblings?
I do. I have 2 sisters. Okay. I'm the youngest. My oldest sister is 9 years older than I am. Okay. And then my middle sister is 6 years older than I am. So I was basically like an only child from the time I was a 6th grader. Okay. Through high school.
So you got to experience siblings a little bit, but then also did learn to be a little creative with playing on your own and stuff.
Yep, for sure.
Very nice. What does your family consist of now?
So I have, I can't even count. I don't know. I have 5 nieces and nephews on my side of the family. Okay. And then I have 3 nieces and nephews on my husband's side of the family. Okay. And we have 4 great nieces and nephews.
Oh, wow.
And 2 on the way.
Really?
Yeah. So my extended family is getting even more extended. But my immediate family, I'm married. My husband's name is Eric, and we have 3 kids.
Okay.
Savannah is 22 and just about to graduate from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Okay.
My middle daughter is Emery. She's 12, the 6th grader. She is huge into sports. Basketball and volleyball are her focus. And then Addie or Adeline is a 1st grader, and she's just getting into the sports too, but she's digging basketball. She just did her first volleyball camp last week,
fun.
so she's super excited about that.
Yeah.
And she loves soccer. And then we're trying fast pitch softball this summer.
Fun.
So yeah.
And you played softball, correct?
I did.
Were
but
you fast pitch or slow pitch?
Back in the day, it was slow pitch.
Okay.
So yeah,
Very
this
exciting.
is kind of a new thing for me, getting used to this fast pitch thing. So
does she seem to have a favorite right now, or
soccer is her favorite?
Okay.
Yeah.
Very fun.
So we'll see. I don't know anything about soccer either. We're learning as we go.
Learn as you go, exactly. And how did you meet Eric?
So I met Eric. We were the same age. We were both seniors in high school. Eric was dating a friend of mine.
Oh.
So it sounds a little more scandalous than it is. But no, we became fast friends. We ended up going to the same college together, and we're good friends. And I ended up transferring out to a different school, and we kind of parted ways for a little bit. They broke up, and we reconnected over MSN Messenger.
Oh, of course.
A couple years later, and just started talking, and the rest is history.
Very nice. Yeah. That's fun. I never knew that. That's interesting to hear, but just because I have a similar path with my husband, so just knowing, I don't know, I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the fun thing about sitting down with you is I talk to you and I see you almost every day, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know about you. So, what is your favorite thing about your job?
Oh, that's hard because I like a lot of things about my job.
A few favorites or favorite.
I really love the camaraderie, I think, first and foremost. We just have a really fun group at VVI. Raskins is behind the scenes pointing to himself. I just said to him the other day, I said, Raskins, I'm just not sure things would be the same if you weren't around here, because he brings another element of entertainment to the team, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think just the team, I love working with the GMs too. And with the nonprofit work that we get to do, it adds a level of humility, I think, and just seeing and hearing stories about what people have to go through, and their struggles, and just being able to just be a tiny bit of help in their world is really inspiring, and means a lot to me to be able to do that piece of my job too. So
totally. I think a lot of people hear like, oh, you work with Vern Eide, and you work for a car dealership, and it's like, but it's so much more, and especially like being in it and seeing it firsthand, it's like you don't realize how much Vern Eide does. And so yeah, getting to experience that is, I'm sure, really fulfilling, or I mean, it's fulfilling for me, so I'm sure for you as well.
It is, for sure.
What's something that you've noticed with the culture of Vern Eide?
I feel like the culture of Vern Eide has just continued to bloom into something new. I think, we've always been there to help and support each other, but I think even a few years ago there was a little bit more competitiveness, where it felt a little bit like every man for themselves, right? Like, I need to take home a paycheck, I'm on commission, so I'm gonna work and do what I need to do. But I just feel like there's just this new rapport and togetherness, and people are helping each other more and supporting each other more, and it's been fun to see the growth in our culture over the last several years to where we are today.
What's something that you did not expect to come with your job?
That's a really hard question.
Sorry. And I can skip and come back if you need me to.
Gosh, I think I need to think about that one for a little bit.
Okay.
Well, so when I came to VVI, I was very media focused. Mm-hmm. That was my sole purpose of my job, was to place media. And I never expected to be able to grow into the relationships at each of the stores and get to know all of the people that I've gotten to know. Mm-hmm. And working with nonprofits and the things that I get to do with that now was never on my radar mm-hmm. when I first started here. So my role really is 100% different today than it was when I started, and mm-hmm. that was unexpected.
Very nice. Yeah. One thing that kind of amazes me every day is just the creativity amongst our peers. Would you say that you've always been a creative person, or what kind of inspires you, I guess? I don't know.
I would say that I've always said that I am not creative. Like I don't come up with the ideas, and I don't make it look pretty. I can't even draw a stick figure. So, if you asked me that 5 years ago, I would have said that I'm not creative at mm-hmm. all. But I think creativity takes on a lot of different looks mm-hmm. And meanings. And so I think as far as the creativity with my role, it's kind of strategizing how to make things work, mm-hmm. Strategizing where we need to be and where we can find people and talk to people. Yeah. I like to follow a couple of different, on LinkedIn especially, I follow a couple of different marketing specific things where I'm reading articles and listening to a couple blogs here and there, and mm-hmm. I pull inspiration from that, definitely. But I'd say my inspiration even just comes from the team, okay. And the GMs and seeing what other dealerships do out there is mm-hmm. really kind of where I get my motivation from to, okay, how can we make this better? How can we grow? How can we be better? So
totally. I notice a lot of creativeness from you, especially in like solutions and finding quick answers. I don't know. It's very inspiring to me. So I appreciate that.
Thanks.
What is something that people don't know about you?
My favorite animal is a cow.
What kind of cow? Like just a dairy?
Doesn't really matter. Just a cow.
Just a cow.
So growing up on a farm, I used to have a what I would consider a pet cow, which mm-hmm. was not a pet. It stayed in the pen like all the other cows did. But she would come up to me and let me pet her nose and stuff. Yeah. She was totally black except for a white mark on her forehead that looked like a star to me. So I called her Moonlight. Oh. And ever since then, I've loved cows. Yeah. I think they're cute. I like their mannerisms, mm-hmm. and so
I'm a fan. I can appreciate that. What kind of farm did you grow up
on? So when I was really, really little, it was a dairy farm.
Okay.
But that was in the 80s, and it was a very big struggle with the economy. So we got rid of cows. We moved into hogs.
Okay.
And they were terribly smelly, and I hated every moment of it, I think. But eventually we got rid of livestock altogether. Okay. And my dad and he farmed with my uncle. They farmed together, but they really just focused on corn and soybean crop. So
okay. I realized there's so many different types of farms out there too, where like people say I grew up on a farm, but it's like there's so much more to it than you would think about.
Yeah.
When you're not at work, what do you enjoy doing in your free time? Or
in my free time, I'd say our lives revolve around our kids and their activities. We get to be mom taxi a whole lot these days with both kids and activities, but I also thrive on it. So I just said the other day that it seems like we're so busy. It seems like we're running all the time, but it's my husband and I that are allowing our kids to sign up for all these things. It's a little self-induced, right? Yeah, absolutely. But we love every moment of it. I love cheering my kids on. I love seeing them do what they're passionate about. So that's really what our life is.
Yeah.
Outside of work is chasing after kids. And Eric and I love spending time together, watching shows or just sitting outside in front of a bonfire. I love thunderstorms. So if there's a thunderstorm outside, you can almost guarantee I'm out on the deck listening to it roll in. And so.
Do you sleep like a baby when they're going through too? Or
I do. It's amazing.
There's something about it.
I know. And I almost get mad because I want to hear it.
Yeah.
So, like almost trying not to fall asleep. But yeah, they put me to sleep totally.
That's fair. I feel like I wake up and I'm like, oh yeah, you can tell just because it's just something about it is so relaxing.
For sure.
Oh gosh. You said you like to watch shows with Eric. Is there a certain type of show that you guys watch or just kind of open to trying anything?
Yeah. I'm not into like horror or super scary things. Just watched oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it. Fire Country.
Okay.
Which is a really good, it's like a series, a show series, but it's about this incarcerated individual that is allowed to go to this fire camp as kind of like a transitional between being behind prison walls and being out in the regular community again. And it turns out that he goes back to his hometown and his parents are like the fire chief and the bigwigs of the fire station. But it like goes through the story of them. This is really stupid, and I don't know why I'm going into detail.
I asked you.
But, so it shares like all these fire runs that they go on and through their story of life. But yeah, the kind of the drama, but I almost even prefer a little bit more happy story because I feel like drama kind of gets me down. Yeah. And if I go to bed, I'm like thinking about the ickiness instead of the goodness. So I like to keep it light.
Do you ever, this is maybe kind of embarrassing for me, like Alex and I used to watch this show and there was one episode that like I ended up like crying, like ugly crying at the end, and he's like, this is not real. And I'm like, I know, but people like do experience this. Do you ever feel like that kind of sits with you, like this could happen to somebody?
Yeah, for sure. I have to stay away from like shows where kids get hurt or they get abused, or I can't even handle that. It just gets really super emotional. Yeah. So yeah, I prefer the comedy, the lighthearted laughter and fun and Okay, so within your position, you get to experience and like see and work with a lot of people in Vern Eide and throughout the industry. Is there a job that you see and you're like, if I were to not be in my role, I'd want to try this? Oh boy. No. You have an appreciation, but it's like that's not for me. 100% appreciation because I don't think I could, and I don't think I'd be very good at it. Like I had mentioned earlier that I thought maybe I would like accounting, but then I get to work with really closely with Richard and Shyla who do accounting, and I think about like when they're $17.23 off or something stupid like that, like the amount of time they have to dig and try to figure out the answers of where this money is, or I just don't think I could do that every day. And I have huge appreciation for what they do because of it. But I love where I'm at. I'm not sure I'd want to be anywhere else. That's so funny. So with your position, and you didn't necessarily see all of the community involvement, I know when I first started here, you'd mentioned that it's going to continue to grow. Where do you see that going? So Jim is really wanting Vern Eide to tithe, meaning 10% of our earnings will be given back to the community. And this last year, we hit our tithing mark for the first time, which is super great. And I think as we continue to grow as a company and we continue to have that growth in profit, we'll continue to grow our giving throughout the community as well. One thing that we've started focusing on is being able to do small advertising campaigns for nonprofits. So right now, the way it sits is we're picking one nonprofit a month and sharing with our customers what this nonprofit is about, what their needs are, whether it's volunteers or monetary donations or just sharing their stories so that our customers are more aware too of what's out there, and where the help is needed, if they have a heart for wanting to give back to the community, it gives them some ideas of what's out there.
Very nice. Yeah. And how do they find that? Is that something that we're going to have posted online or in stores, social media? How do people find that?
Great question. So we're sending an email out every month sharing that information to our customers that receive our emails.
Okay.
We do share it out on social as well. And then we have some stuff on the homepage of each of our store websites here in Sioux Falls anyway, where they could click and then it goes out to that nonprofit's website to be able to learn more that way too.
Very nice. What are some of the guidelines that come in place with kind of choosing who we support or show, or does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah. I don't necessarily think there's guidelines per se. I think it's Jim might say, I'm feeling pretty passionate about this nonprofit. I think we need to give them that next step of sharing who they are. Our nonprofit for March is Families Finding Joy, and this just happened with them submitting a request for just a cash donation to help them get off their feet. They're brand new. And just based on that, it just kind of drew to me and pulled at my heartstrings a little bit what their mission is, which is giving an outlet for families facing childhood illness, to be able to give them something fun to do, a meal to be able to just come together in a safe environment, free of germs, so their little tykes can come out and enjoy it as well without putting them at risk. But it just pulled at my heartstrings, and we had the month available to be able to spread the word a little bit for them. So it felt right.
Yeah.
And we went with it. So there's not necessarily a guideline to it, but we're definitely wanting to help when and where we can. So if you're a nonprofit listening to this, give us a call, and we'll see what we can do to help you out too.
So you're also on the Vern Eide Gives committee. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. So we as a company get hit up a lot for giving, from sports teams to the nonprofits that are in town to maybe it's a loved one hosting a golf tournament for somebody that passed away, but supporting whatever their mission is and raising funds for. Maybe it's like wearing helmets when you're riding a motorcycle, those PSA type of messages. And it got to be that we were getting so many of those that we formed Vern Eide Gives. So we do have a website, verneidegives.com, where people could apply to receive monetary donations. We also do like silent auction donation type things where like maybe it's a cooler or an oil change or a detail for your car, things like that. So we have a lot of different ways that we help the community, whether they're 501c3 nonprofits or people just raising money for other causes and reasons. So it's a lot of fun. Our donations might range from $250 to $25,000, just depending on what the mission is and the requests and what the community needs from us. So
love that. How would you describe yourself as a person? What are some words that you would use to describe yourself?
A person that doesn't like to talk about themselves much. I'd like to say that I'm kind and caring and helpful and passionate and easygoing. I like to have fun.
I can agree with all those. Perfect. I think it really shows with like kind of all that you do and working with the nonprofits, and I mean even just hearing you talk about the different organizations that we work with and stuff, you can tell that it is something that you are passionate about and genuinely do care about. And I know, again, relating to talking with you when I was first joining the team, just how fulfilling that seemed for you, and I respected that a lot. So just don't know, just want to hear how you would describe yourself. So I know, like you mentioned, you travel a lot for your kids, or you're always moving around for kids. You have free time for you, and your kids are not there. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm probably reading a book.
Okay.
I like romance novels.
Okay.
Yeah, and mystery. Or seriously, I'm sitting outside on my deck in front of my fire, just drinking my hand, enjoying the fresh air and relaxing.
What drink in your hand?
My go-to is Bacardi Limon and Diet Coke.
Oh, okay.
But I really do love margaritas too.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could pick a day of like the perfect ideal weather, where are we sitting?
75 and sunny.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. I'm a fair weather fan.
Yeah.
With a thunderstorm like off in the distance where I can hear it, but
Yeah.
it's not raining on my parade, right?
Like you're sitting there enjoying the sun, but then you just get the ambient sound and effects of the... Okay.
That's perfect.
I can appreciate that. I feel like who doesn't enjoy a day like that, honestly? Because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Exactly. April 25th, right?
Something like that. 25th. Somewhere around there.
It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
It's a good one. When you're not tending to your own kids, I know you've gone on a trip here or there with other people's children. What does that entail? That kind of sounds a little weird, I guess.
That's an awesome way of putting it. I am the high school youth group leader at my church.
Okay.
I've been doing that for, it's probably been almost 8 years.
Oh, wow.
My oldest was a freshman in high school when I started. And after she graduated high school, all the other kids kind of became my own kids too. So I've just kept going with it. It's been a fun run. When I started, I think we had maybe like 10 to 12 kids on average. And now every week we have close to like 30 to 35 kids.
Wow.
So it's grown a lot. In the summer, we typically take a trip. We'll do mission trips somewhere in the United States within driving distance.
Okay.
But these communities get together with the organizing company to clean up the city and help elderly, help disabled, to do whatever needs fixing in their homes.
Okay.
As an example, there was a veteran who had lost his legs and was wheelchair bound, but he didn't have a wheelchair ramp.
Okay.
So they brought us in to build that wheelchair ramp so that he's able to get in and out of his home easier.
That's awesome.
So that's just one example of the things that we do, but it's really to help the elderly and the disabled just be able to live a more comfortable life. So it's been very rewarding, and having these kids in my life has been very rewarding. And I say that I learn more about my faith, and my faith grows more being around them versus me giving them the ability to get together to grow their faith. But I feel like I might get more out of it than they do.
What are some of the challenges, or what's something, I guess, kind of a challenge that comes with working with other people's kids?
These kids are awesome. They really are. They're very well behaved. I think the most nerve-wracking thing for me is getting asked the hard faith questions that I don't have answers to. I'm always like hoping and praying that the right words come out of my mouth to be able to help them grow, but it's very nerve-wracking to not be equipped for some of the things that might come up. But
as a person who grew up going to like youth group and stuff, it is kind of a curiosity out of my own, was just because you have somebody who you build this relationship with. I had the same group of, directors for certain periods of time. So like my high school time frame, I was with the same two women weekly. And I always kind of was just curious, I appreciate them opening their hearts and their space to a bunch of teenage girls. But I always kind of did wonder, like, is this always easy, or can it be difficult? Yeah. Which to me, it feels like it'd be difficult. So
it's scary and intimidating. I'm not going to lie. I don't have all the right answers. I'm human, and I sin as much as the next guy. Yeah. And I think being in that type of role, you're kind of held to a different standard or looked at almost kind of differently. Like, you have all the answers and you don't do anything wrong. And I'm here to tell you that is not the case.
That's not true.
That is not me. No, I'm human, and I don't always know or do the right thing. And but I think that's also a great teaching moment for the kids to experience too, that you can have faith and still
not be perfect.
Yeah,
totally.
Yep.
I love that. All right, well, anything else that you would like to share with us?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of EideCast. Is This Thing On? Thank you, Maggie, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.